State of the City address. It really is an honor to introduce our mayor, and it's been an honor to really work under his leadership for the past 6 years. But I have to tell you, there's something we were joking about before I got up here. This is where I rank in the level with the mayor. This goes back several months ago. I was fortunate enough to be tapped to win the 2020 North Dakota Developer of the Year, and so. Thank you. And so one of the things was I had to go to Bismarck to accept the award, and it couldn't be public yet. You know, no one wanted to upstage the governor. And so the mayor was in the office one time. He comes and he says, we got this meeting. We got to meet with somebody. I need you there. And I said, I can't. I got to go to Bismarck. And he says, well, he goes, can you cancel it? He says, I really need you there. And I said, I'm going to tell you this. I said, but you cannot tell anybody. So it can't be public. And he goes, well, what? And I go, you're looking at the 2020 North Dakota Developer of the Year. And the mayor looked at me and he goes, who? So everybody please welcome the Honorable Mayor Howard Klug.
Welcome to the annual State of the City address. And before we get going, just want to make a few comments about various things and welcome and recognize some people that are sitting out in the audience. First and foremost, I want to thank our economic development team for giving me some time this week. When I started this a few years ago, I told Sean that I'm going to take some of your time away from your economic development week. This will be a perfect time to talk about the city, talk about what we're going to be doing, what we have done, a lot of those other things that make Williston what it is. So I want to thank Sean and Brenda, Ann and Barb, and I'm going to throw Keith Olson in there also. They're the heart and soul of that team over there, and they put on this. But overall, they're a busy bunch. In the first 5 months of this year, they've already surpassed the amount of people that they saw last year. You can say, oh, well, that's because of COVID. No, it's not. It's because they do a good job of what they do. They go out and hustle business. You walk into their office and they're knowledgeable, and they represent the city of Williston. So with that, give them a round of applause. So I'm going to start by recognizing the members of the City Council, City of Williston. The other day, Ron Ness was in town. Ron Ness is with the North Dakota Petroleum Council. And he came up to me and he asked me, how's your council? I said, I have the best council in the state of North Dakota. They're informed, they're opinionated, and simply put, they have the ability to get something done. So with that, Tate and Brad and Danette and Chris, would you please stand up? Also with me today is my wife, Melanie. If you come to other functions, you will probably see her by my side and most of these events. And so thank you for coming today. Also in the audience today is our former Mayor, Ward Kozier. Still involved in the city of Williston, various committees. I sat with him in a Tree City Committee the other day, and always a pleasure to work with the former mayor. Did a lot of good things for the city of Williston. And then last on my list is I want to recognize somebody that's sitting in the audience that has been a friend, has been good for the city of Williston, but retirement has taken him away. He's left the college in good hands. Dr. Miller, thank you for what you've done. Moving on, I want to thank the sponsors. I'm going to list some sponsors here. And when I call out your name, if there's a representative of your group, would you please stand up? And then at the end of when I've announced all of them, we'll give them a round of applause too. Our platinum sponsors is Cardin Global and Sanford Health. Our gold sponsors is AE2S, JE Dunn Construction, and Altag. Our silver sponsors, MDU Resources, MDU, Knife River, and the Williston Basin API. And the bronze sponsors is FCI Constructors. So let's give them all a round of applause. So sit back, relax, and I'm going to tell you how to run the city of Williston. And I'm going to go page by page through the code of the city of Williston, the ordinances. So if you want to just lean back and relax, I'll be done in about 3 days. But no, I'm going to get into a better way to run your city. And before I go any farther, it was a tough year last year with COVID. We are right there on the verge of announcing quite a few things at the beginning of last year, and like the rest of the country, it was put on hold. The city of Williston never was really shut down. We always found a way to make sure that the restaurants could be serving food, whether it was takeout or we modified liquor laws, those kind of things. Places of worship is another one that happened. Some of the other places, they were closed down, but right away, we figured out social distancing, masks, those kind of things. And over the last year, we've come a long ways to getting back to where we want to be. We're not back where we want to be yet. There is still a, pardon me? Anyhow, we're not there yet. I'm still asking people to get vaccinated. I'm still asking people to watch their social distancing. We don't have it here today, but the main key to where we need to be is, I believe, is vaccinations. And they're really getting, unfortunately, tapering off quite a bit. But our numbers for the last month, we were down in the single digits, and now we're back up to, I think the other day we were in the 50s or 60s. So fortunately, the people that are getting sick now are not the elderly, not those people that were most vulnerable. Unfortunately, we lost some good people in the city of Williston. We really did. But with that, going to move on to bigger and better things. Starting with, I've got the City of the Year award up here for 2020. You know, two times over the last 5 years, your city has been named the North Dakota League of Cities City of the Year. And it's quite the honor for us up here. So I told Caitlin, I said, bring that over here because people have to understand we're not standing still. We're not standing still. We're doing projects here in the city of Williston. And when I mentioned Caitlin, Caitlin is our communication strategist. She helped me put all of this together. As you could see, the slideshow that was playing over lunch, there was hundreds of activities that happened in your city throughout the last year and into this year. So today, before we get going any farther, there's a lot of people that said, oh, nice lunch. It was kind of with the baseball theme, we're back in the game, and the bratwursts and the beans and everything else like that. But I had no clue that the baseball theme, getting back into the game, was the theme of this when I decided that we're going to have bratwurst, beans, and salads and fruit or bars and stuff like that. And the brats were going to come from Waltz Market. And you know why they came from Waltz Market? Because they're local. The Star Fund helped them get going. And they're made here, right here in the city of Williston. We're beef country. We also ranked number one in edible beans, also lentils, peas, those kind of things. We have a research center out here that produces seeds for the bread on the buns and those kind of things. For the wheat, we're known for wheat, we're known for durum. And also, we have a big valley full of sugar beets. So the brownies, and it all ties together of what we're doing here in the Western region. And that's why I chose this menu. A lot of people said, well, that's because you like bratwurst. Well, that's true too. But anyhow, no, that's what the menu is supposed to represent. The different things that Northwest North Dakota, the city of Williston can do and is doing. And it's not just oil, it's the ag part of it. It's going to be a lot of other things as we move forward too. Today, as we move on and forward, I joked about the code of the city. I'm going to talk about partnerships. And that's how I like to run this city, through partnerships. And it starts within our own departments, and I leave those guys alone. When a few years ago, when we hired Chief Peterson, it was on a Tuesday. I think it was a city commission meeting. It was on a Tuesday, and we went through the week, and he called me up on a Monday morning, and he said, Mayor, I'm going to give you an update about what happened over the weekend. I said, no, you're not. You guys went to school. You guys are policemen. I don't know how to be a policeman. And from that time on, your police officers, we've got a couple people that have went through the FBI Academy. We just sent 2 people down to Tennessee for another schooling. You've got one of the best trained police forces in the city or the state of North Dakota, right here. Our fire department is the same way. We sent our firefighters out west to battle fires. We sent equipment out there. We've helped other people through the city of Williston. And also, we have a training facility here that not only trains our own firefighters, but we partner with other entities throughout the state of North Dakota, throughout the country, that come up here and learn how to be a fireman in a station that you allowed us to build. And this is all money that's come through the public safety sales tax. You've given us the resources to do those kind of things. We've been good stewards of that money, and I'm going to be asking for that one to be voted on again in the next year or so. But it's a good program because it's public safety. The county and the city of Williston partners on those dollars, and it benefits the entire county. You have a new radar system. You have a new PSAP system that's being built. You have mental health that's being addressed through those kind of funds. The city of Williston is giving our people the equipment to keep us safe. And that's the last I'm going to be talking about that for now. But moving on about partnerships in the city of Williston, economic development, the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They're on the same floor of the same building. They partner together for a lot of different activities throughout the city. And then economic development moves upstairs, and they go into development services, planning and zoning. And we spend hours and hours on planning and zoning. I want to thank those folks that sit on the planning and zoning committee too. We partner there too. We also move forward to the next step where it goes down to engineering, where it goes down to public works. And it's all overseen by the administration of the city of Williston. But the partnerships, they all run by themselves. But to get this city to where it needs to go, to keep us moving forward and everything else, they understand that they have to work together. They have to be those partners. And our library is also there to partner with the city of Williston and the residents of the city of Williston. They listen to what you want, and they listen what's best for the city of Williston. So all of these things that I'm talking about today, that's just within our own group of people. We hired the best people that we can find. We've poached some from other areas. We appreciate what they do for us day in and day out. And we're in really, really good shape. No matter who the mayor is, no matter who the council is, we're in good shape in the city of Williston for the people that are running these departments. And I want to appreciate all of those folks. But moving on, I'm going to talk about a few other things about partners. One of the things, I mentioned Williston State College before, but we're in a partnership with Williston State College as soon as we get it approved to bring daycare into the city of Williston. The county, the city of Williston, and the college has pledged to bring at least 400 new spaces into the city of Williston for daycare. It's not enough, but still that partnership is there. I mentioned Williams County. The city of Williston is partnering with them also to build a new 911 center. The PSAP center out there at the old Slolan Field at Williston Square. We're repurposing buildings in that site, and that will be online by the end of this year. State of the art, keep the entire county safe, and maybe even over into McKenzie County. But those are partnerships that we put together. One group does the building, one group does the electronics. We both get together and figure out how this thing is going to work. And that's the best way that I know how to run a city. Also, we talked about schools, school district, finally got that pushed through, that District 1 and District 8 combined over the last year and a half or so. District 1 opened up the Innovation Academy. Lots of good things are going to come from that. You know, it helps to have partners too that understand it's easier for the city of Williston to deal with one school district, and they will understand, they know that the education in this town is going to be top-notch because they can focus and concentrate on one district, one goal, the best goal. Also, we talked about various things that happen in the city of Williston. And overall, we need partners. We need partners, you know. You can't live without water. And WAS, City of Williston, are in a partnership where we buy the water from them. We have a distribution center system throughout the city of Williston. We have to have that partnership to make sure that our city works. Your communications, you know, where would we be without a partnership with AT&T, Verizon, Midco, and you name it, because we are the ones that say, okay, you can put a tower here, you want a tower there. Once again, where do you get your power from? REC and MDU. That's a partnership that the city of Williston and the franchises, or what I like to call partners, we get together and figure out what's the best way to bring these services to the city of Williston. We also, you know, garbage, the city of Williston is pretty much responsible for that. But we run a landfill, and we use that facility to also make sure that the outlying areas here has a place to dispose of those materials that can go into our landfill. The only thing that I haven't figured out how to make a partnership is in sewage. I don't think that there's anybody that wants that stuff. And, but we'll take care of that for you. So anyhow, those are some of the other things that's going on. We're talking about healthcare, and we're going to partner with Sanford Health to bring additional health care to the city of Williston through a new clinic, a new hospital. While maintaining the care that we have, we want to expand that care throughout the region, western North Dakota. We started on this about 2 years ago, and we announced it just a couple months ago, and we're well on our way of bringing health care to the city of Williston, and also supporting what we have now, if that's the path that we need to go down. So we're ready, we're going to be ready for the future for western North Dakota and the city of Williston. Other things that I want to just briefly talk about is our airport, XWA. Once again, a partnership built that airport, the fastest greenfield airport that was ever built in this country. When we started that airport, it was nothing but a field out there. We got going. We partnered with the federal government, the FAA. We partnered with the state of North Dakota. North Dakota was a tough sell, but we did go out and got that done, and it was all because of partnerships here that we forged and you forged in your city. And moving forward, we want to thank United that they stuck with us. We made a deal with Delta, and Delta will return here a month from yesterday. And so we'll have another flights to Minneapolis starting next month through Delta. And I want to announce that we have had very good conversations, and we believe that an agreement similar to what the city announced with Delta will be coming soon with a low-cost carrier. So we're going to do the same kind of partnership that we had with Delta, and maybe get somebody that can fly us to Vegas, or fly us to Florida, or fly us to Phoenix, right here out of the city of Williston. Those things are well down the line, and hopefully we'll be announcing that by the end of the summer. Anthony has done a good job out there. The numbers at our airport, we're up 252% over 2020. You may say, well, that was 2020, but the numbers continue to rise. 11.5% over March, and people were moving in March. So once again, we're moving up. The United average was 91.4% full on the flights that come in and out of the city of Williston. Those things are a lot of the partnerships that I've talked about are things that you can see. There is a lot of partnerships that we have with various groups that come in and they say, what can the city of Williston do for you? What can we expect if we do business with the city of Williston? Well, just yesterday, I was in a meeting with an individual that they've already bought some substantial property here out west of town, and they're looking at some stuff east of town. They bought a hotel. They're bullish. They're really bullish on the oil industry. They're bullish on Williston, North Dakota, and I agreed with them. I said, come on, we'll talk about things. If you need some help some way, whatever the Star Fund can do for you, whether it's through one of those programs, if you want to come to the city, and we don't do TIFs or financing districts and those kind of things very often. But we're in a position that we can do those kind of things also. If whoever wants to come in is the right fit for the city of Williston, you have the right people that's serving on your council, you have the right people that's running your economic development group to make those decisions for us. And with that, I'm going to close this out real quickly and just talk about Star Fund. The Star Fund is once again funded through a city sales tax. We use 3/4 of that sales tax to do infrastructure projects. We have gone through the city of Williston replacing water mains, water and sewer and roads and those kind of things. Our road system is a lot better than it was 10 years ago. I was driving out to the fairgrounds yesterday, and the person that I was with me said, the road system in the city of Williston to get across our town is pretty impressive right now. We put in the road on the other side of Walmart to bring you to the high school area, 16th, 11th, 32nd, 18th, underpass, all of those things, university all the way out. And we're not going to stop there. There's a few more things that we need to do. And the last thing I'm going to talk about real quickly is Williston Square. Williston Square is where the old airport was. It's where the 911 center is going to be. It's where the new medical center is going to be. We have some people that are signed up for spaces up front. We are in conversations with the Power Play group that's going to bring new ice to that city. There may be a opportunity that an outdoor pool would be out there. There's a group of people that doesn't have anything to do with the city yet, but if we need to partner with them, we can sure do that. The partnerships on roads that I mentioned just a minute ago, we're going to partner with the federal government and the state of North Dakota to redo the intersection down there. This is 2nd and 26th Street. As you see where that stoplight is, that goes straight right now. We're going to turn that into the square so that you can go into Williston Square up to where the medical center will be, up where a new convention and visitor or a new convention center will be. That's part of the dreams that I have. But you also can continue to go north by making a right, or if you want to get back out to 26th Street or the other direction, you'll make a left there. And that project there is scheduled to start by the end of this year. So we've got a lot of things in the hopper still, lots of interest in Williston Square, lots of partners that want to be partners with the city of Williston. We're in a pretty good spot, I believe. And with that, I am going to bring up the smart one, David Twan. I told you about we have the best council in the state of North Dakota. I also have the best city administrator in the state of North Dakota, and I'll say that anytime, any place. So with that, David Twan, come up.
Gotta bump this down a little bit. Well, thank you, Mayor. That's quite an introduction. And, when we have an opportunity to address people, it's always one that I take to heart because, it's been a long year of COVID and working remotely and not getting a chance to see you in person. But I always take great privilege in representing the city staff with the trust of the commission. And I can't say enough just how wonderful it is to have the vision that the city commission has and their support. I've been working in this capacity for 5 years now. And I got my start as a civil engineer, and I got to work in the Public Works Division and got to work on a number of big projects and infrastructure and see the growth and development that happened in the city of Williston. It was very exciting. And one of the things that we've become accustomed to talking about is all these big projects, whether it's the airport or our water and sewer infrastructure, and we're very proud of that, but we don't shed a lot of light on the ways that we work that makes that possible. And today I really want to talk and highlight some of the financial work that's been going on in the city of Williston. And in preparation for this, the mayor said he asked me to partner with him in the state of the city. He said, I'm going to talk about the really fun and exciting partnerships, and then you can talk about the finances and the dollars. And I said, okay, thanks. But I'm actually really excited to do that because it's one area that we don't talk about enough. I think there's some really exciting innovation and ideas coming, and we're really proud of the transformation that's happened in the city of Williston, specifically with the finance department. Taking things back just 5 short years ago, the city had an auditor's department, which is a very traditional way in a lot of North Dakota cities to manage your money. And a lot of you probably remember our longtime serving auditor for over 30 years, John Kautzman, and he safeguarded our dollars. And as we went through the boom, we had a lot of projects, we had a lot of needs. He did a great job making sure that we spent carefully and appropriately. But during that period, we were very reactionary, and we didn't spend a lot of time casting a vision and looking ahead. And it has long been really the direction from our city commission, and specifically our finance commissioner, Brad Beckedahl, to transform that auditor's approach into something that's more strategic, that's more innovative, and more transparent. So those are the guiding principles under which we founded the new City of Williston Finance Department. We've restructured. And if you were to compare us to who we were 4 or 5 years ago, we're an entirely different group of people now. Even though a lot of us have been here for that entire time, we've added a lot of new people. But the way we're structured is completely different. And I'm really proud of the way that the city staff has partnered together, the way the department heads work together, the way you see that cooperation under their leadership. And I just can't speak enough to how much we rely on their capacity every day to make good decisions and be at the helm to lead us. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of that work that our new finance director, Hercules Cummings, has been doing with his team, and really shine some light on the innovation, the transparency, and the forward-looking thoughts that they've been working with. And one of the cool things you see up there, we have that BitPay logo. And this is actually a funny story. I sat down with Herc the other day, and we were talking about the cool new innovative things that we're doing. And by the way, I put this up here. It's a small accomplishment for us in terms of maybe what it means for you 10 years from now, but it's very monumental for what it represents in terms of innovation and new technology. Williston is the third city in the country and the first one in the state of North Dakota to accept cryptocurrency and BitPay to pay your utility bills. And if you've been following the trends in the news just on how exciting a new frontier that is, it's really cool to know that the finance department is looking ahead at the technology, the trends, the new ways of doing business so that we're prepared for this when the time comes. And that's a lot of the work that we're doing. And Hercules was so excited to tell me about this. He said, Dave, we've got 5 new cryptocurrencies that we're looking at. And he's showing me this thing, and I'm going, Herc, I see 6 of them up there. What's this other one? He goes, oh, that must be a new one. I don't even know what that is yet, but we accept it. So we're moving pretty fast, sometimes too fast to keep up with, but that's a good thing. And I'm really excited that we're being that innovative in trying to adjust the services that we do to be accommodating to the way that the market trends are going. So today I'm going to give you just a brief snapshot and overview of our city expenses, our budget, share with you where that goes and how we use it. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about revenue and what we're projecting to take in for the year, and then a couple of changes that might be coming through this year, and I'll leave you with an exciting kind of small announcement, but some new stuff that we're doing, and then I'll turn it back to the mayor to kind of close this out. So I only have 6 slides. I promise I will be brief. Hopefully you'll get a kick out of some of this information. It's some pretty cool stuff. I get energized by it because I deal with the numbers almost every day. Not everybody does, but I think it represents some not just good fiscal management, but some cool new ideas that we're doing. So this is a snapshot or a glimpse of what our expenditure budget is for 2021. And I bring this up, a lot of you have seen this before, but it seems like with COVID, the last year just kind of disappeared and we forgot just what it took, and when we put this together was over a year ago, but or just about a year ago, but it feels like a long time ago. A lot of this remains relevant, and when we put these budgets together, we're forecasting for the year that's to come, what we anticipate we're going to spend on, where the money's going to go, and we use some metrics looking back, but we also try to anticipate what new costs are going to be. And as you've heard today from the various panels, anticipating some of those costs has been really hard. So what we're projecting for the year is roughly about $150 million in forecasted expenses. You can see how that breaks down. There's a considerable amount that goes to public safety, public works, which includes the water and sewer, and general operations makes up the lion's share of where we spend the money. But there's also a significant portion that goes to long-term debt, both paying on the interest and also paying down the principal, so we chip away at that long-term debt over time. And even though that's a significant portion, it's still a manageable portion, and that's been our approach in securing these long-term debt vehicles. We do so in a way that we can sustain these payments every year. They're substantial enough to make a difference in the long run, but it's only about 19% of our total budget. We're managing what we can there. So what we've found in the last year is a lot of things have changed. COVID has taught us that. We didn't anticipate a lot of the outcomes and the impacts of the pandemic. But I'm happy to report that as far as our projected expenses go, we are still on track for what we projected, at least thus far into the year. And that's a good thing. So we've had to make some adjustments. We've pulled back in some areas in order to stay on track. We've brought back some projects. We've deferred some new equipment and purchases. We've pushed forward in other areas by investing in overtime and supplies. Our first responders worked hard through the pandemic to serve the community, and that costs a little bit more money. And then we've also invested in technology and training to make sure that we can continue to serve the public in more efficient ways. So we make these adjustments as the year goes, with this as our guiding principle, and we're still on track for 2021. And this is just a different glimpse here of how this year compares to previous years. The city budget, if you look back 10 or 15 or 20 years, takes a very different picture and a different trend just because we've grown so rapidly. But I like to look back on the 5-year trend, and when we've already kind of crested that growth hill about 4 or 5 years ago, you start to see more of a pattern emerging that's kind of a year-to-year up and down. So you can see kind of in the green years, we're not necessarily in a maintenance mode, but we're in a more predictable city activity levels. And then those blue years, those are years where we do a little bit more project intensity, we do a little bit more in terms of equipment or fleet replacement. For example, in 2020, We finished out a lot of the payments on the airport project that finished in late 2019. We had a lot of fleet replacements. That was a year where we trended a little bit higher. 2020 is a little bit more of a balanced year, or excuse me, 2021 is a bit more of a balanced year where we're going to be doing some projects. We'll be doing some infrastructure work, but we're going to moderate that a little bit. We've brought some of those project expectations back a little bit to stay kind of consistent with what we're finding is our new normal with expenditures. So we have to really balance this with what we expect to see for revenue. And I will tell you that's been one of the most interesting and challenging areas to work in. Finding out what we're going to be taking in for the year is sometimes a bit of a best guess approach. But I've been super impressed by our finance department in how they've taken a more comprehensive look at what we can rely on for revenue. So you see here as a snapshot of our revenue, we're expected to take in about $130 million. And I'll let that number sink in for a second because it's not quite the number that we expected to spend. It's pretty close. You know, we were at about 148 million on expected expenditures, but the revenue, we're trending right about 130 million. And this happens sometimes. You know, you don't know specifically what's going to happen throughout the year in terms of that intake. We don't adjust these numbers. We legitimately look at what we think the projection is going to be. But we do have a few ways to make adjustments and some changes so that we can either match at the end of the year with the revenue and the expenses, or hopefully, you know, exceed on revenue and cut back some of the expenses. So the things I mentioned with curtailing some projects or expenses, it's also pretty rare on the expenditure side that we actually use everything that we plan to use. And also on the projection side, we've taken a very conservative approach. And this was put together back at the heat of the pandemic in July, August of 2020. So this represents a very conservative outlook on what we were expecting to see in terms of oil activity, sales tax, and so on. And thus far into this year, we're trending a little bit higher in some areas and on track in others. So the outlook so far, I can tell you, in your city is looking good. The management of our expenses is sound, and the revenue that we're seeing that we're expecting through the summer will at least meet, if not slightly exceed, the expectations that we have. But this is also interesting to look at because you see the property and other taxes, 6.5%. A lot of people are under the impression that the property taxes represents a bigger portion than it actually is. And while we rely on that, it's not really the lion's share of the revenue. The lion's share of the revenue comes from what we call, you know, the intergovernmental revenue or rates and fees. And some of those areas we have the ability to adjust and, you know, make some changes. And in other areas, you know, things are relatively fixed and beyond our control. For example, the sales tax. The sales tax will trend in the way that it trends, and we can't really control that. But we can control things like rates and fees and some other revenue. But we make good use of leveraging all of these resources that are available to us in order to cover all of our expenses. And really the main 3 or 4 revenue sources that we use include that gross production tax, the 2 sales taxes that we have in the city of Williston, the property taxes, again, even though it's a smaller portion, it is one that we can measure and plan with throughout the year, and then also our rates and fees. And you know, through this next year, so far, the GPT is trending a little bit higher than what we projected. We assumed a very base level for what the industry activity was going to be and how much would be coming in. Sales tax is trending about where we expected it to be. And the rates and fees, that one's in orange because I get the pleasure of telling you that we're going to be changing some of those this year, but it actually is a timely thing to do and a responsible thing to do. Rates and fees have really not been adjusted for quite a while. I would say 5 to 10 years in a lot of cases. And you've probably witnessed and seen the improvements that have come across the city in our infrastructure. We boast about the technology that's gone into our wastewater recovery facility, our water treatment plant, our new landfill cells that we've worked through the Department of Health on. All of these improvements in service come at a cost, and none of those costs come from rates and fees. We utilize those other sources, whether it's the sales tax, whether it's leveraging state dollars. There's great revolving loan programs. There's state water commission grants. All of these things we put towards the improvements so that the rates and fees represent only the operational cost. Not unlike everything else where costs go up over time, the costs for operations do go up too. And what we'll be looking at this year is an increase in our rates and fees. So this gives you an idea of where we sit in the state of North Dakota. Williston has the distinct honor of being at the top of the heap. That's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because the commitment obviously from the commission is to maintain affordably low rates. And then at the same time, we have to make sure that those rates represent the cost. So we will be making some adjustments in 2021 to increase the fees to match the operational cost. I'm happy to report to you that we will still be at the top of this heap. The costs will still be affordable, they will be reasonable, but with the improvement of those facilities, the cost to operate them does go up. But we believe with that level of service that goes up with it, we're making sensible changes. And last but not least, I just want to highlight some of the commitment that our finance team has made to not only bringing forth these innovative ideas and analysis that helps us make the adjustments to ensure that we're still financially healthy, but also their commitment to transparency. And when Hercules came aboard not quite a year ago, one of the things that he prioritized for us and for our team is to turn that information that we use every day into a useful tool for everybody. We talked this entire day about how you use numbers for planning, how you do your estimates, and how that affects your business. This is a new tool that we're going to go live with later this summer. It's in a beta testing phase right now, so if you happen to go to our City of Williston webpage, you can use some of these, what we're calling the public view of our financial information. But as we work through the summer, there's quite a bit of background software work and programming that has to go into this. But this will really become the best tool for the public to not only see where we're at, but also see where we're going and how we're doing, and provide that input that maybe you want to give to the city to make adjustments or feedback, or just understand how the money is being spent. So this is a really cool new feature that I'm excited about. I know Hercules is really, really excited about it too, and we hope that you use it. So with that, I will conclude and bring the mayor back up here, and thank you for not only your time today and your interest, but I encourage you all, come down and find us, whether it's at City Hall, whether the Law Enforcement Center, Public Works, Development Center, what have you. We love it when folks come in. The pandemic has unfortunately separated us, and we'd like to welcome you back. We're all open and operational, and we'd love to see you in our offices again. So thank you for your time today, and I'll bring back up the boss, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, David. Good information, and as always, if you want any information whatsoever about how we spend money in the city of Williston, how we spend taxpayer dollars, and also other revenue that we go out and earn, we bring back to the city of Williston, the doors are always open. The commissioners, their phone numbers are listed in the yellow or in the white pages, so is mine, and those kind of things. But let me finish up by, and I did this on purpose, that we have our representatives and we have our state senator sitting in the audience with us too. David Richter, Pat Hattlestead, and Brad Becketall. They went down to Bismarck this year in a COVID year. They didn't know where the budget for the state of North Dakota was going to lead us. And they did a hell of a job for us. They really did. When I remember, sometime last year, we're going to open up the bridge down by Theodore Roosevelt Park, the four-lane. So one of these days, we're going to have another four-lane highway that goes south of Williston all the way down to Belfield. They got money for that. I remember those standing on the bridge talking to Senate leadership, and he was giving me his plan about what was going to happen with the legacy fund, what we were going to do, how we were going to spread that out. And I said to him, well, what's in it for us? I mean, I'm just like the rest of you. A lot of times we say, what's in it for us? You know, you might want to be as, you know, say whatever you want, but when you really think about it, I want what's mine too. And I want to fight for what's ours here in the city of Williston, and these guys did that. And the Senate leadership said, well, what we're planning on doing is figuring out a way to repay $74 million worth of WAS loans. Well, that's a big deal. Water grows northwest North Dakota. Northwest North Dakota grows. Williston is the hub. That's one of the things they brought back. They brought back millions of dollars for us to use in the city of Williston, and also to train people. There's $1 million out there for mental health. On and on and on. They went to Bismarck. They stood up for us, and they deserve a round of applause because they had a tough session. It was a long session, never knowing what the revenue forecasts were going to be. Thank goodness that somewhere in the middle of that, the oil prices went up. I think yesterday they were around $65 or something like that, and it's a good thing for the city of Williston. So once again, thank you for all the work that you've done. I'm sure that in the next month or so that they'll have a recap of the work that they did for us down there. They deserve your support. They sure have mine. So with that, a round of applause for those three individuals. Okay, now we're going to wrap this thing up. As you can see, hopefully you could see that your city is in pretty good hands. I've talked a lot about the people that are running your city, talked a lot about the commissioners, the people that we've hired, but I haven't talked a lot about myself. And it's been a good ride for these last 7 years. I've got 1 year left on my in my term, but we've got a lot of projects that I'd like to see done over the next 5 years. You know, I showed you this road system that we had out there. I showed you Williston Square. I'm excited about what we're doing with our finances. I'm not done yet. I'm going to announce today that in a year from now, in June, I'm going to run for re-election. And after that, I'll probably just fade off into the sunset. No, more than likely, what I'll do is be like Ward Crozier. You know, Williston will always be my home. It is now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to make it better. We're going to make it better. The city of Williston is going to be the regional hub for Western North Dakota. It is now, and it's even going to be better. And I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you a lot for coming today.
Another round of applause, City Administrator, Honorable Mayor Harold Klug. Those of you listening on the radio keys, I think we will have those slides on City of Williston. CityofWilliston.com, you will be able to see the slideshow presentation. We'll have that up shortly for you. Okay, this afternoon is going to be pretty exciting. We're going to get into everything, all things unmanned aerial. We're going to talk about emerging technology in the oil and gas systems. You're going to hear from our district legislators at the end of the day as well. So let's take about 10 minutes. 1:45, we'll be back for the afternoon sessions.